Hello everybody, my name is Joe Salmon, Executive Director of Center for Health Progress. We're talking today about mental health. It's been in the news a lot, something that we at Center for Health Progress care a lot about. Two years ago, my dad tried to commit suicide.
My dad and sister have battled chronic depression for as long as I can remember.
I've had lots of friends and family members who have struggled with depression and anxiety.
For weeks, I felt persistent sadness, guilt, and a feeling that the world was heavy and that I had no hope.
I'm here with Justin Kruger today, founder and CEO of Project Helping. So I want to talk a little bit about suicide. It's something that touches many of us.
Yeah.
As you know, after my father tried to commit suicide, I ended up talking to a number of people about it and just sort of sharing my story. And every single person I talked to said that they had a family member or a friend or a close person, but they felt like nobody had ever talked to them about it.
Stigma is such a multifaceted, sort of deep problem. There isn't one solution to stigma. I've been suicidal. I've been down that road, and so I know sort of the feelings that come along with that. The sense of isolation, regardless of how many people are around you. And I think for me, part of the struggle was one of the symptoms of dealing with depression was that I felt really worthless. So I think the feeling that way sort of precluded me from speaking to anyone about it, because the thought process was, if I don't feel worthy of talking about it, why would anyone else want to hear that story?
After it happened, I felt like I didn't have the resources I needed to support my dad and my family and to try to prevent another suicide attempt.
We went to therapy as a family when the depression manifested itself as violence.
Right now, so the suicide rates continue to go up. I think access to care is a continual issue. I think that we continue to be creative about how we're reducing stigma, which hopefully drives people to seek help. But then when we do that, I don't know that the rate of access to care is growing fast enough to support that.
Generally, the trends are bad. The one report that came out around suicide increase, and I think in Colorado was over 30% increase over the last 8 years or so. The Youth Risk Behavior Survey showed 1 in 7 youth are reporting misusing opioids. 1 in 6 are considering suicide. It's just some pretty stark numbers, right?
Well, I think that we've seen also sort of a dramatic lowering of the onset age of mental wellness issues. So over the last 10 years, it's gone from an average age of 28 to 14. It's literally gone down by half. I think obviously rural access is more limited. Access to things like video healthcare, telemedicine for specifically mental health things has still been probably more limited than we would hope, because it is a great way to get access. Mental health resources in general tend to be expensive, so I think health coverage and health access to those tools, because of health coverage, the lack in health coverage is an issue.
Well, we see, in Colorado and across the country, there's disparities that can persist. They're really intractable disparities around coverage, specifically health insurance coverage. Lower income folks have a harder time getting coverage, and especially in certain communities of color, getting prevention services, those sorts of things. So I think we see these things play out not just in physical health, but also mental health and oral health. So.
There's a growing movement around a willingness to talk about it and a willingness to have these types of conversations, and a willingness by everyone to try to understand better what people are dealing with, what leads them to be suicidal. So I think the hope is that the conversation continues to grow and it continues to become more normalized, and we continue to sort of collectively seek creative, innovative solutions to the problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
I needed to realize that it was okay to ask for help, that it wasn't a failure of my character, a weakness in who I am, or any other deficiency in who I am as a person.
It's really important when things are really difficult to make sure we don't feel like we are alone.